All right. All right, here we go. Hopefully I'm getting through here. So I've spoken to God and I said, I'd like to, and I've been repeatedly moving this theme, but I spoke to God and I said, I'd like to give out all the information one more time, and I think I told you that. So God is definitely wanting it to happen because it's a whole science that they won't let be spoken upon the earth on how it's all being done, both the physical, actually, again, all three, the physical, the spiritual, and the psychological. Not sure what that click was. But the guy showed up at that point. But I think God wanted me to let it be known that I didn't have my plate. And in Oklahoma, it actually, they do that. They let them drive the car with the plate, so they don't have to. You're allowed to do that. It's actually part of the sale process itself. Usually, it's just to go to the DMV, but he's going to fix it up first, I'm sure, and then go. So I was glad to get him the pieces, parts he needed, and or wanted, and I promised to him. And then I had some tape for blacking out the belt line of the Mini Cooper's chrome trim, and I know he's going to probably need that to redo that at some point. So I forgot to give it to him, but I was able to get somebody to call him and say, "Hey, I'm going to give it to this guy. You come pick it up whenever you can." So I'm glad it got to him and didn't go to someone else, because it's just, that's the man to do the, have the best life with it. So I guess his wife likes it. She wants to drive it, so he's got to fix it up. Said he wishes he didn't let his wife see it. He said he collected license plates, which is funny, and he says, I have them on the wall. I'd like to keep that one if I can. I said, I can't. I think I have to return it in Oklahoma. And I think you do. They changed the law apparently in July. It's not assigned to a vehicle, it's assigned to the owner, but it's still, I left the state, so now it has to go back to them. Oh, I'm hearing some, something in the background here. Hopefully I'm not. Oh, something got loose here, that's what it is. I have to take care of it later. That shouldn't be clicking. A certain thing gets loose and it clicks. It's kind of a glitch, I think, in the manufacturing process. So there's a whole science behind what they're doing. And genocide is really what it is. Satan wages a spiritual genocide. They wage a spiritual and physical as well as psychological genocide for Satan's spiritual genocide. It's identical. The deep state activity mimics what Satan does. I mean, so you see Shift the Accuser up there. But what they're protecting is much more egregious than simply being politically in power. It's being at the level of being politically in power. They're extorting the president and other people to allow them to commit their psychological warfare genocide. That's what's going on. So we have to understand it so we can fight it. And then we've got to find people that will fight it. The president isn't going to fight it full bore yet. And they know that. They've already tested him and saw his reactions based upon what they're doing. So that coronavirus is here. No matter how you all try to explain it, it's a plague. You all want to speak about things being dangerous that aren't. God's going to bring danger to your lives. But how does God do that? God lifts his hands off of you because you're all the ones bringing it. You've uttered so many things, all of you, about how certain people are dangerous when they're not. Why is this thing telling me my seatbelt's not on? It's on. There's an error here somewhere in my rental car. I'm going to get over in the right lane because now you're going to pass me on the right while I try to get over in the right. You know, people will tailgate you, and because they're planning to speed, they won't get in the left lane, and they'll get over in the right lane to speed around you while you try to get over the right lane to let them pass. It's Nazism. It's communism in its most heinous form in the Soviet Union and China. That's what the deep state shadow government criminal enterprise is. It's federal, state, and local government employees as well as law enforcement and intelligence. But not only those, it's IRS. It's any operation of government they can use against somebody. Any operation of government can be weaponized and used. That's the bottom line. And it's not everybody there, but everybody there is afraid of it. So the people operating it aren't these brave, because they'll prop themselves up to be the heroes. But they're chicken defecation. They won't stand up against the deep state. That's who they are. But they're the big and the bad and the best. That's why our nation is addicted to narcotics like it is, because the last 20 years, 25 years since they've been doing me, with those that were doing me made directors and SACs and inspectors and great people of government theoretically, but not in reality. They can't stop anything. All they can do is make a need for themselves to be what? To be worshipped. We'll protect you. We're here. The bad guys are getting you. They're horrible, aren't they? We're not responsible. There's no way we're responsible. If you think we're responsible, then you're a liberal. Oh, you are a liberal. So again, they try to use politics in that. Or you're a Trump supporter. So they're afraid of it. That's why they're doing whatever it tells them to do. So I'm real happy. I'm traveling around Tyler. My stomach is coming under check. And the doctor did prescribe the medication. But again, when the deep state gets around it, there's a spell on your mind. There's psychological warfare in the world around you. Nobody's going to be normal anymore. So again, we really don't have this much suicide. We don't have that much drug distribution naturally. It's the deep state criminal enterprise of a demonic proportion that causes it by not only bringing demons but allowing people to go uninvestigated that are the kind of secret society people with them, and they're the ones bringing the narcotics in. They're only allowed to arrest the ones that aren't the deep state. Now, you heard Matthew Fogg say this a certain way, and the problem is when you go solely racial on deep state activity, you're never going to beat it. I mean, you may get some money in a court case. You might, black power or people of color power, or, race wars, white people that hate the black people will say, well, black people do the same thing to us. But yet there's a group of people that are constantly being killed, and those are the innocents. So the first thing they do is they try to destroy your life and destroy your credibility before they bring it out into the open. So they're moving intense CIA operation that includes surreptitious drugging. There's no doubt that people in our world are being surreptitiously drugged, but they're also possessing their minds by being around them at that level. Intelligence officers, CIA officers, they're out there, and when they're moving, they're also moving spiritual powers to effectuate the CIA work. But if Satan takes over the CIA, then those powers are no longer God's powers, and those powers of God become suppressed. not only within government, within our communities. So then you'll see suicide, CIA suicide. You'll see suicide increase, whether it's CIA caused or not. Because they bring that devil, that demon, that antichrist, that witch, that sorcerer of suicide. So over there in Oklahoma, they cucked them out and suicided out one of their biggest former senators. And nobody's going to say anything because they don't want it to happen to them and their family. Jonathan Nichols was psychologically suicided by people trained, or at least information that trickled out of CIA into the private sector criminal community. And quite frankly, many big business owners are living millionaire and billionaire lives are criminals, organized crime and racketeering. Organized crime and racketeering. Well, I have to go shopping here. Stay peaceful, but give way for God to bring those plagues. And praise God for it, and praise God in all that you do.